Again, just briefly say a little bit about the REAPs and their objectives. All the REAPs it's quite interesting. The REAPs have we only produced our strategies last April. We only got our funding in about May last year. And some REAPs are really still very much staffing up and developing their infrastructure. And it's quite interesting that across 9 regions, the REAPs have all developed fairly differently. And I think that reflects different regional priorities, different regional contexts, and also the different governance structures that they've put in different regions. Some regions have put in a sort of a region-wide approach. Others have gone down to a sub-regional approach. In terms of what we operate, in terms of objectives, once you start peeling back the REAP strategies, you see quite a lot of commonality actually about what they're trying to achieve. And that's not surprising because we operate under the umbrella of what's called the National Improvement and Efficiency Strategy. But the key themes in there are around supporting efficiency, and that with the economic crisis is growing all the time in importance, supporting performance improvement. The focus on that was very much on CPA traditionally. That's moving towards CAA now, obviously. Supporting the delivery of LAA outcomes, community empowerment and innovation as key themes, and the economy as a key theme even before the crisis, but again, that's reinforced now. So that's just a little bit about the objectives. I'm just using the West Midlands here as an example, just to give you a bit of a feel for how we operate and how we approach the world. We've got, and as I say, every REAP is slightly different, but once you start peeling back the onion, you'll find similar things to this in many cases. We've got 5 cross-cutting work streams that are around sort of leadership and people development, corporate performance improvement, procurement and efficiency, improved outcomes through partnership, which is really about LAA support, and process improvement and transformation. So we've got those 5 cross-cutting work streams. We also have quite a substantial focus on adults and children and have got a substantial regional infrastructure around those. And our approach, which is developing, is we're really trying to underpin that work by good information about councils and their needs. And also we're trying to develop across the REAP what we're calling a relationship management model with councils, so that we have a clearly identified person in the REAP working with each council. And similarly, we're providing that in terms of the LAA support package through the work that David Galliers is leading. So that's the sort of model that we're working towards. In terms of spend, and again, this is West Midlands spend, but it's just an example of how things are fitting together. That just gives you an overall feel for it. So you can see that while 22 million on the one hand sounds a fair amount of money, once we spread it across a number of work streams, it's not that huge amount of money. And of course, most of the money we use as a catalyst and push it out to authorities and partnerships to do things with. So don't get hung up on the money, but it's just an illustration. And really, bringing things to a close, really, I mean, just a few pointers from me. It seems, in terms of your work with REAPs, they are very much in a developmental state. Some are still staffing up, building their structures and infrastructures. Some, like the West Midlands, have had a bit more continuity. The West Midlands, the South East, the South West, I think in particular, have had more continuity. But you won't see the same picture everywhere, and you won't get quite the same set of messages, and you'll find different linkages in different regions. As I said, I think we see our role as catalysts for change, working across agencies, working across sectors, trying to pump prime change. I think really supporting the development of strong partnerships. I think the defining principle, and it goes back to this sector-led approach, is we work with authorities and partnerships. We don't do things to them. That's the sort of model. And I think the fact that we're only creatures with a fixed life means that when we go away, what we want to leave behind is a legacy where people are more empowered and more able to do their own, to lead their own improvement. So really, the approach that we're about is about building capacity in the sector and empowering the local government sector, local authorities and partnerships to lead their own improvement. So that's a bit of a canter through, done fairly quickly, but I hope that just gives you a bit of a feel for REAPs, for how we operate, And I think hopefully it gives a feel for the sort of implications of our style for the work of the LIAs. So I'm going to stop there and hand back over to colleagues.